The concepts covered are modes of reproduction, sexual reproduction, fruits and seed formation, seed dispersal. All the living organisms including plants and animals have the capability to produce new individuals during their lifespan. The process of production of the offspring from the parents is called reproduction. Reproduction makes the life continuous, which is not only essential for the survival of an organism but it is also very necessary for the perpetuation and preservation of the species because it increases the number of members of a species. Modes of reproduction in plants. Reproduction in plants occurs in two ways. Asexual reproduction. In this reproduction the new plants are produced without using the seeds. In this process, generally, the leaves, stems and roots participate in reproduction. Sexual reproduction. In this reproduction the new plants are produced with the help of the seeds of a plant. In this process, the flowers of the plants participate in reproduction. Some plant parts. Shoot. It is a young plant is often termed as a shoot. Generally, a shoot is regarded as a part of the plant which has stems, leaves and flowers. Note, it is a part of the stem or branch of a plant from where the leaf arises. Vegetative buds. Sometimes buds are present in the leaves that are capable of developing into shoots. These are called vegetative buds. Types of asexual reproduction. The process in which only one parent is involved in the production of new individuals of the same kind is called asexual reproduction. In plants, asexual reproduction results in the formation of offsprings or new plants without seeds or spores. Asexual reproduction in plants occurs through the following methods: vegetative propagation, budding, fragmentation, spore formation. When reproduction takes place only from the vegetative parts of plant known as vegetative reproduction. A. Natural vegetative propagation. B. Artificial vegetative propagation. Natural vegetative propagation. Natural propagation by leaf. Vegetative propagation by leaves can be seen in very few plants like Bryophyllum and Begonia. In these plants buds are produced on leaf margins. These buds after falling on the ground grow into new plants. Natural propagation by stem. Underground stems are modified for storage of food. These underground stems produce several new plants from their buds. Modified stems like tuber, bulb, rhizome and corm help the plants to multiply. Natural propagation by root. Roots also help in vegetative propagation. For example, sweet potato and dahlia give rise to new plants from their fleshy roots. Figure 2. Artificial vegetative propagation. Grafting. In this commonly practiced method a new variety is obtained from the mother plant. In this process a detached part of one plant is inserted into the stem or the root system of another plant. The short piece of detached shoot containing several buds is called scion. The lower portion of the plant that is fixed to the soil by its root system is called the stalk. They establish vascular connection with each other after a few days. Layering. In this method a young branch is bent towards the ground and covered with moist soil. After some days, new roots develop from the covered part, which is in contact with the soil. This is called a layer and the process is called layering. The branch is then separated from the parent plant and allowed to grow into a new independent plant. Cutting. In this method a healthy young branch of a plant having leaf buds is cut out and planted in moist soil. Figure. The branch develops root and grows into a new plant. Bougainvillea, sugarcane, rose and grapes are grown from cuttings. Advantages of vegetative propagation. The plants that are produced with vegetative propagation grow faster than those that are produced with sexual reproduction. The plants that reproduce with vegetative reproduction have fruits and flowers ahead of time. The plants that are produced have exactly the same characteristics as that of their parents. Asexual reproduction in unicellular organism. 1. Binary fission. During this process, two daughter organisms of equal sizes are formed from one parent by the division of the parent body. This is the most common method of reproduction in algae, fungi and bacteria. Two. Budding. In this type of reproduction, a small outgrowth appears on the body of the organism. This outgrowth is called a bud. The buds grow and finally detach from the parent body and begin to live as independent organisms. Yeast is an organism that contains a single cell. It is a fungi, not a plant. It can propagate every few hours if the proper amount of nutrients are available to it. As the yeast finds favorable conditions, a small bulb-like projection produces from the yeast called bud. The bud grows gradually and then gets detached from the parent yeast. This new cell then grows, measures and produces more cells. 3. Fragmentation. Algae like Spirogyra generally reproduce by the process of fragmentation, in which they divide themselves into multiple parts. As soon as the algae find enough water and nutrients, it fragments and grows into new individuals. This process continues and algae multiply quickly in a short period of time. Fragmentation in algae. Four. Spore formation. Some plants contain spores that float in the air and cause asexual reproduction. A spore has a hard protective cover which protects it from the unfavorable environmental conditions like temperature and humidity. As a result, the spores can travel long distances and survive for a long duration of time. As soon as they find favorable conditions such as moisture and nutrients, they germinate and form new plants. For example, moss and ferns propagate in this way. Sexual reproduction in plants. Flowers are the reproductive part of a plant. They help the plants in sexual reproduction and producing fruits and seeds. The male reproductive parts of a plant are called stamen. The female reproductive parts of a plant are called pistil. Some flowers contain both stamen and pistil and are called bisexual flowers. Example: lily, rose, brinjal, hibiscus, petunia, mustard, etc. Some flowers contain either the stamen or the pistil and hence are called unisexual flowers. Example: papaya, watermelon, cucumber, coconut, etc. The new plant produced contains the characteristics of both plants that participate in the sexual reproduction. The stamen consists of anther that has pollen grains. These pollen grains produce male gametes. Stamen. The pistil consists of three parts. Stigma, it is a sticky surface where pollen grains get attached. Style, it is a tube-like structure which connects the stigma and the ovary. Ovary, it contains eggs in which the female gametes or eggs are formed. Pistil. How the male gametes reach the female gametes in plants. The male and female gametes fuse and form a zygote. The male gametes reach the female gametes by the process of pollination. The pollen grains have a tough covering which allows them in surviving the different climatic conditions. Due to their light weight, winds and water often carry them away to different plants. Sometimes the pollen grains also get attached to insects which carry them to different flowers. This process of transfer of pollen grains from one stigma to another is called pollination. Pollination. Types of pollination. Self-pollination or autogamy, when the pollen grains land on the stigma of the same flower. Cross-pollination or xenogamy, when the pollen grains land on the stigma of a different flower, whether of similar kind or different kind. The fertilization. A zygote is formed as the fusion between the male and female gametes occurs. This process of formation of the zygote is called fertilization. Then the zygote develops and turns in an embryo. How fruits and seeds are formed. After the fertilization process, the ovary of the flowers grows and develops into a fruit. The remaining parts of the flower fall off. The ovules develop and form the seeds of the fruits. The embryo is enclosed inside the seeds. Some fruits are fleshy and juicy such as mango, apple and orange. Some fruits are hard like almonds and walnuts. Formation of fruits and seeds. What is seed dispersal? The transportation of seeds from the parent plant to different places is called seed dispersal. Seed dispersal allows growth of the same kind of plants in different regions. This is helpful because it minimizes the competition for food, sunlight, water and minerals among the plants of the same kind in the same area. It also allows them to grow in different habitats.